welcome. You are watching the Cybers of Harmony. Together with me is Cybers Nick.
Hello!
And I am Cybers Conrad. You will enjoy, or you will be deleted. Delete.
But they didn't really say delete back in the day. Partly. Well, the new ones did. The old ones didn't. It was kind of...
Yeah, no, that's. I was kind of going for. I was going for a more Age of Steel kind.
Yeah, it's kind of in between. A good old Mondasian and an Age of Steel. But yes, welcome to our Let's Make the Cybermen Great Again podcast.
Yeah.
First of all, we're going to build a wall made of steel, and we're going to put the Doctor. The Doctor's going to pay for it, and it's going to go on one side, and the Cybermen are going to be on the other, and they're just not going to be in Doctor Who again until they get it right. Okay, you know, they got to earn it. So yeah, this is about how kind of recently Conrad and I have been underwhelmed with how the Cybermen have been used in modern Who.
It went from quite a nice revival to kind of a mess.
Yeah.
And, it hasn't picked up again. Unlike with the Daleks, which was kind of a mess a few seasons ago, and yet they have managed to get them back to a decent spot.
It together. Yeah.
The Cybermen have kind of been on the decline.
From the next Doctor onwards, they've just been absolutely dreadful.
They've been underused, yeah, and not.
Every time they're given
properly.
a story, they've either been. So the next Doctor was the last, probably official Cybermen story that I'd use, and in the story arc as well, because after that, there's no continuity to them. That's number one.
Yeah, this is one of the important things, because they had this whole reboot of the Cybermen in Rise of the Cybermen Age of Steel, which carried on to Doomsday, which
they carried on to the next.
Yeah, because they explained that they managed to escape, some of them using Dalek technology, and it was a really nice way to tie it all together. But then after that, the Cybermen would take a hiatus.
Yeah, and it was the Pandorica opens.
Where they appeared briefly,
randomly.
But actually, was it Pandorica Open that removed the C from their chest?
I'm not sure. All I know was that it was in the underground scene.
Because it was either that or A Good Man Goes to War.
It was mainly Good Man Goes to War. It was definitely removed.
Where basically what they had done, which was kind of hinted by Moffat, but without really making any sort of point of it, they had swapped the parallel universe Cybermen with our universe Cybermen, and the ingenious ways they managed to think of to indicate this change, they removed the C off their chest.
Yeah, no, the C.
Genius! Well done, Moffat. Genius!
The C was still in it in Pandorica Opens.
So that was a parallel Cyberman.
And then, from Good Man Goes to War onwards. They don't even... Thing is, for all we know, is they could actually still be from the other universe. No. It says, our universe Cybermen finally reappear in the form of the 12th Cyber Fleet in the Good Man Goes to War.
Yeah, no, that is because they removed the C. That is the indication to where that is the modern Asian Cybermen. But first off, why do they look like parallel Cybermen?
Completely the same,
Yeah, when there was very much a different development there. How did they end up looking like that? And secondly, no! It's dumb. You pull this, pretty... It's actually a pretty major change in terms of the Cybermen to bring it back to the modern Asian Cybermen. People were asking for it for a while, because while we liked the parallel ones, because, they were just Cybermen, we also wanted to see our universe Cybermen every now and again. And then when they do, not only is there nothing said about it in the episode itself.
It's not even an episode about the Cybermen.
No, it just...
It's a 5-minute opening. And then closing time is them as well. Nothing about them.
Yeah, and no indication. Where does everything fit in together? And of course, continuity's done then. And closing time was okay. I guess we'll get to it eventually. But closing time was dreadful. Closing time was really, really dreadful.
They just need to use enough of it.
The Lodger was a good enough story, but it was fine. The closing time, from perspective of just the Doctor and I can't even remember James Corden's character. It was okay, but the Cybermen were done so wrong. Like, well, first off, it was nice to see Cybermats, but the Cybermats
Craig.
looked dumb.
It was Craig.
Second off, there's not many Cybermen. They're sat staring and they don't
There are
do
3.
anything. It was really stupid. It was that episode. My gosh, and the fact they were defeated by a baby crying. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That was actually, I'd say that was the low point, closing time.
The thing is, I'd say that it just didn't. It stayed at that low. Nightmare in Silver picked up a little bit. It's a decent story,
Yeah.
but they made the Cybermen too OP.
Well,
they went
that
the
was,
other way.
That was the entire issue. Like, the fact was, right, so the idea was that, of course, their old design were clunky and they were being defeated too easily. So they upgraded, and they upgraded too much. Like, the adaptability thing was a step too far. Like, more mobility, okay, fine. You know, a bit more. I'm okay, kind of okay with their new design. Not personally the best, but it's okay. But the thing, yes, just making them completely as overpowered as they were, like they could just adapt to anything.
Yeah, it's like
Really puts them in a creative deadlock, because what do you do for them from there? I mean, they destroyed them all with the bomb.
that's the only way you can destroy them, like a bomb or that really powerful gun. You know.
Yeah, exactly. But even then, they slowly adapt to things like that, as they mentioned. So
They need to. Yeah, they need to move.
they've
back.
written themselves into a corner with the Cybermen, to where they lead them away long enough, and they'll be completely indestructible.
The problem is Nightmare in Silver was written as a 2-parter, which got cut down to a 1-parter.
Yeah,
That is where the problem
that
lies.
didn't
I
help
bet you
things.
completely they weren't as I bet you they weren't even as strong as they were. I bet you by the end, yeah, but only because they'd done so many upgrades. And I mean, what about the fast-moving Cyberman that literally got sprung over? You know, time of the Doctor, surely the wooden one could have just moved quickly.
Yeah. Well, why didn't the wooden one adapt? Surely
Yeah.
before the Doctor fight them off for all this time, surely they'd adapt to it at some point.
And then Dark Water and Death in Heaven was a new low as well.
Yeah, well, that. My gosh. The thing is that they placed the Cybermen very, very secondary. Second off, the fact that they were so blindly following Missy is completely against, especially the Monad Cybermen, because you look at what they were doing in the Five Doctors and they were consistently untrustworthy of them.
They don't trust anybody.
Yeah. So why the heck would they first off follow along with Missy as closely as they did, to the point where they were, at a certain point they could just explode themselves. And second off, like, they didn't do anything in that story. They were just there in that story. It was a Missy story. They were secondary. They were very secondary.
They never make the Cybermen secondary.
Yeah. Unless, like, well, I mean, like, they kind of did in the Five Doctors, but it worked there because they were they had enough of a presence. They weren't really the focus.
Yeah,
They
but
couldn't
Five
be.
Doctors was a celebration. It's a completely
Yeah.
different thing. It's like when the Daleks weren't really the main centre of the 50th anniversary, but they fit into it well enough. You know?
Exactly.
The Daleks more like weird in the Five Doctors than the Cybermen are, you know? The Cybermen were supposed to challenge the Doctor and kind of semi-kill him, you know? They were there for a reason.
Yes.
But, the Dalek was a bit random out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's just
I
there
don't
'cause
know
it had
where-
to be there.
But yeah, so...
But yeah, no, they have really
Just-
reduced these once great presence of Doctor Who, these fantastic enemies, into really a shell of their former self, as it were.
Not even a shadow, like a shadow in the middle of the desert, with suns at both angles, like no shadow at all.
They don't know what to do with them. Like, they seriously, I think...
They just need a new writer who gets them. Hopefully Chibnall is that, and hopefully Chibnall writes a very good story.
Yes.
Using the
It's
Cybermen.
a far cry from the best of, like, how they were, like, in the classic series stuff. And I think now we should go over exactly how they should go about doing that.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, I guess with the titles of this thing being Make Them Great Again,
yeah.
We've got to...
So we need to actually kind of say how they should do that.
First off, the design. Now, I actually don't mind so much the new design. I think all
It
the
looks too
lines
plastic,
over
I
it,
think.
bit too plasticky, and there's all kinds of lines all over them, which I kind of like it being a bit sleeker and a bit cleaner, you know.
Yeah.
My favourite Cyberman design in general is the Tomb of the Cybermen design. It's sleek. It has enough mechanical like extras to where it's very much robotic, and its eyes in particular, like
Just the
the
circles
I mean the tier when it was introduced.
in Wheel and Space is okay.
It's okay. It's fine, and it's worked out for most of the Cyberman's existence. But it was so creepy without it. Like it was with the. I especially liked it when they had like Entombment had like the ring around the outside of the eyes.
Yeah.
So that made it kind of eye-like, but kind of not. It was really creepy, and just like having one static mouth.
Yeah, it's more creepy, I think.
You know,
definitely.
it's the kind of eyes they had in that story were. That's as frightening. That's the only time I can, and I guess Moonbase by extension are the only times I can ever really call them creepy.
See, I'd say change the design a tiny bit. So you know how in the Russell T Davies Cybermen, those ones, the John Lumick ones, how they had like between like the body and like the legs, they had these like piping.
Pipes, yeah.
I'd do that for most of the body and have like a robotic leg. You know, like have some like clasps on the outside, but mainly you see all these like wires and stuff. You know, these kind of thick wires. Because I mean, you can't just have a jumpsuit. I'd say redo the Tomb Cybermen costume, but you got to update it a bit. Because the problem is it wouldn't look great on TV. You can keep the free hands, the free fingered hands. You know,
I can agree
that.
not having it exact.
But I'd say the main headset, because all you knew is when the mouth comes down, is just have some blue lights inside. Some blue lights inside, but still just the flap.
The slot.
That would look fine. It would look,
Yeah.
And
Again, maybe not a jumpsuit. Maybe make it a little more metallic and a little more solid.
Yeah, and have like metal clasps, like like gauntlets, like when people have like kind of wrist gauntlets.
Yeah, I can see that.
And like stuff which goes. It's like in Legend of Zelda, like when he has the gold gauntlet and then he can lift really large stuff. Like metal ones like that, and then wires running underneath it. So it's like this metal's holding it all together. And then like these wires
kind of
go
a bit more
through
of
it.
a patchwork side.
Yeah, to show like hydraulics are causing their arm movement. They're a bit more older. Because I mean, we've brought back classic Daleks. We've seen the old ones especially in Magician's Apprentice. I mean, Asylum was just naff. I mean, they were like, oh my god, we got classic Daleks, aren't we amazing?
And one even moves a bit
in the background, far off. None talk. Don't advertise it like that, and then don't even use them. It's like when the Doctor was about to find Dalek Clara. She's like, "Oh, all these Daleks are from all these old places that you've been. All of them were Russell T Davies Daleks. What are you on about?"
Yeah,
that annoyed me a lot. But anyway, why not bring back a classic Tomb design? I mean, we saw the headset in Death in Heaven when Kate threw it on the ground. It's like, this is from your last invasion. That one cool badass moment.
Yeah, that's true.
Which sadly, that was the tiny
also,
bit the best part.
Of course, we've seen a glimpse of the classic Cybermen in the new design. Like they even had like the revenge design in.
In Dalek.
Dalek,
that was nice. But I mean, it would work, and I think give them a redesign.
Either have it a bit closer to Tomb, or. We mentioned. I think we mentioned on the 10th Planet review that we wanted someone set on Mondaz, which would be the original design. Or heck, even if they make it a bit closer to that of the 80s design, I wouldn't mind too much.
Just go back. Go back.
Yeah, go backwards. When you look back, you've got to look forwards. Yeah.
Well, or just use it from in that point in the timeline. I mean, I still think a good story is how those Cybermen ended up in the tomb.
It's true.
Like, you remember we were talking about how stories we do? I do a story which is set on setting up Tomb of the Cybermen.
Yeah. What happened to Cybermen? How did the Cybermen go extinct?
Why?
How did that go? How did they pretty much go extinct? How did that happen?
I'd want
that would
to
be
see
an
that.
interesting story.
And I think, a really good last shot could be the Doctor watching his second self, and you'd obviously get a body double to do it in far off, though. You just see, the now 13th Doctor just watching
The second head towards
just
the tomb.
watching the second and just checking that everything's going right, you know. And he could either just be sitting on the edge of a cliff, just watching the end happen as well with Cyberman, you know, like watching it just from far off, just like a really small like end of the episode moment. It would be really cool, and it wouldn't take anything away from Tomb.
No,
it wouldn't take anything at all.
It'd be complementary.
It would be kind of like like I don't know, poem or whatever, like in respect of, and I don't know, I think that would be a really cool story. Or seeing or as I was mentioning earlier before the podcast about if they did like the Doctor on Mondas while the 10th planet was happening and see what was happening on Mondas while this was also happening, because I mean it was pretty Deus Machina that it swallowed up too much radiation and then just suddenly crumbled. I think they could do a story where the Doctor's actually doing something on the planet which then helps cause that implosion.
Another story which is kind of obvious to kind of do on Mondas is the whole genesis of the Cybermen. Because while we know the origins of the parallel Cybermen, the origins of the Mondas Cybermen really are kind of a mystery. Like, unless I don't know what Spare Parts did, because I haven't actually listened to that. If they really explained anything. But as far as I can tell, we haven't really had a full on.
We need a Jim Lumic.
We haven't.
A Jim Lumock.
Not that there would necessarily be. I did mention in my last podcast that there was could be a John Lumic equivalent, but I also think perhaps that it's on Mondas. There wouldn't necessarily be a John Lumic. There might be a John Lumic on the Earth, but why would there be on a separate sister planet?
A Jim Lumock.
So, I think they could have a very different origins if they come on Mondas, especially considering, presumably, that happened at an earlier point in their evolution, since that the Cybermen we see in the 10th planet are a lot more less developed than the Cyberman first invented.
See, I think they could do something like on an amputee base, like soldiers after war, and then giving them kind of upgrades, to make them stronger in battle.
And then they slowly apply them to more and more people.
And it's like, oh, well, why didn't we do this? And,
and soldiers, that's why the emotions get removed.
And they could do an wow, we just came up with one ourselves. Chris Chibnall, hit us up.
Yeah.
We got this. We can team up and write a decent two-parter, though. It's got to be two parts.
Yeah,
Sorry, we have some say on what we're doing.
But I mean, even if they took it even if they took it to any point in the Cybermen's history, fighting a bunch of older Cybermen, regardless, would be pretty cool. Even if they regardless of where we jump back in Cybermen's history, because and in fact, it might be even kind of interesting to know what was happening to the Cybermen between the events of Silver Nemesis and where we get to A Good Man Goes to War. How did they get from there to there? There's this massive gap for the Cybermen.
They just slowly upgraded themselves.
But, if they do continue on the current line, if they continue the continuity forward with the Cybermen and have, like, the kind of what happens past Nightmare in Silver, I hope there is a decent explanation to why they're not upgrading as much anymore, and I hope that they just need to bring back the threateningness. They overdid it in Nightmare in Silver, but they need to strike a balance between being threatening and being reasonable. So I think the Rise of Cybermen Age of Steel did kind of get that right, though they might have been a bit slow and clunky. With a bit more of the mobility of the new Cybermen, with the more balanced nature of the older Cybermen, I think we could have quite a nice balance here. Plus, I'd also love to see the return of weaponry to the Cybermen. Because, actually, it was kind of cool in Army of Ghosts and Doomsday when they had, the guns in their arms. Though I'd kind of like to see a blaster reminiscent of what they had in, Earthshock and stuff.
Yeah.
That would be really cool to see again, like a full-on Cyberman blaster. Or something to that degree again. I'd really like to see that.
I think that would be good, but, giving them a two-parter, not making them a side villain is they're the main ones, really. Yeah,
they're Doctor Who's second most popular monster for a reason. it shouldn't just be ignored. They've always kind of been taken for granted, Cybermen, I feel. Because, like, the third Doctor era, they didn't have them at all, though that could also be argued that that's because they overused them in the second Doctor era, where you'd use them a lot. And then the fourth Doctor era, they appeared once, and then had a very long hiatus, and then appeared a decent amount, but they've, like, kind of always been overlooked, in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, really have been overlooked and just, I don't know, not respected enough as creatures.
There's so much to them, but it just doesn't get the same treatment as Daleks, when I think for all intents and purposes they should be.
Yeah, like Daleks,
maybe not quite the same appearance level, but you know, better than what they have been. We haven't had a full Dalek story since Nightmare in Silver, a Cyberman story since Nightmare in Silver. That was 2013, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2013.
So it has been 4 years.
If you guys count Death in Heaven as a Cyberman story, yeah, go.
Not really.
Go watch the episode and tell us what about that is really Cyberman.
A full Cyberman story.
You could put any other race of robots in there, and it wouldn't, you know.
Even then, that was what, 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2014.
So yeah, like we haven't had a proper Cyberman story in a long time now. Nothing dedicated to Cybermen. And the new series doesn't appear to be changing that, for all we've heard.
I hope they don't do the Cybermen. Do you know what would be different? Cybermen in the Doctor's first story. You know, newly regenerated 13th Doctor. I think Cybermen would be a good one to face off on. Because it's all about emotions, you know? And he's learning all about himself. So emotions would be flying. You know, I don't know, I think I'd much prefer a Cyberman to be in a Doctor's first story than a Dalek. And it would be first time around. I mean, Colin Baker kind of got it in his second story, where he was a lot more kind of defined, because Twin Dilemma, he's all over the place, even all the way to the very end. It's odd, but I know. I think they could do it, because then it would have, hopefully, the extended runtime, like Deep Breath or something. So they could really go for something quite grand with it. I mean, especially if they brought back classic Cybermen for that story. What a mix. New Doctor, old Cybermen. That would be epic.
That would be pretty cool.
And yeah, I just think that you could, like, first episode with Cybermen would be a good one, because then you already have established villains. So you don't need to do anything about introducing new villains or anything. So you've got established villains, which everybody already knows about. You know, one turners into them, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Whatever. And then, so then we can concentrate all on the Doctor, while also giving the Cybermen a decent plot. Because we don't need to go into all their background on why they're doing this. What do they get out of it? We already know their reasoning behind it. Yes. So then they can concentrate on a good plan, and, you know, and then give decent scenes to the Doctor, the new Doctor, you know, that, so it could work as that.
That would make sense.
Or goes a two-parter finale, like let's give the Cybermen a crack of a whip of being the main baddies.
A proper full-on Cyberman story, a proper, you know.
Not a full-on sideline, Missy's helping them. No, Missy was completely controlling them. They were like robots under her control.
Yeah, completely.
And then totally weirdly gives them to the Doctor. It's like, that was more like a bloody soap opera than a Doctor Who, that was.
That was, but we shall
We'll get onto that.
We will, but that was, again, like...
disappointing. Incredibly.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Well, hopefully someday we can see a proper Cybermen story.
So, we didn't get any really Cybermen in Series 9. We saw kind of ahead of one in Face the Raven, and that's about it. And hopefully they don't do anything in Series 10. The only one which I could see it being is either a finale or Toby Whithouse's episode. Which... Problem is Toby Whithouse's is a one-parter, so don't expect much.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing.
You can't give...
It doesn't mean...
the big ones, only one-parter episodes.
It makes it difficult. I don't think it's impossible to give them a good one-parter.
Okay, the only time it has really, really worked is Dalek. And Cold War, I guess, but
Well, for
Ice
Cybermen,
Warriors are kind of on the
the
side.
next
But
Doctor.
hour long though. I more enjoy the next Doctor mainly because of David Mosery rather than the Cybermen. But I mean, they
think
still
the
use them
Cybermen-
effectively, especially
do.
that graveyard scene.
And the Cyber King.
And the
My
Cybermen
gosh,
King's
that
cool.
was... I mean, yeah, and like the fact that they were getting like child labour and, you know, how they did it. I thought the Cybermen were used effectively well in that story. I think that it's possible to make it work. It makes it difficult to make it work, but I don't think it's impossible. In fact, it worked with the Daleks and something like Into the Dalek and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't the best Dalek story ever, but it was... I think it worked nicely.
It's because of what it was, though. They had the right kind of story
Exactly. So
for
you find
it
the
to
right...
work.
They find the right
But,
kind of story
I mean,
for
if
the
but
Cybermen.
if they want to fix the Cybermen, they need a strong story, two-parter. It's do they want to slowly improve it like it's done with the Daleks? You know, because I mean, they're still not where I'd want them to be. If the two-parter coming up in the new series is good, then yeah, fine, they fixed it. I will count that the Daleks as fixed. But I don't know. Do they want to do the slow ramp or do they want to get them back on top? I'd prefer if they just did one great story and got them. We just need a writer who understands them. I'm pretty sure Neil Gaiman did understand them. He just didn't get the 2 episodes that he wanted.
Yes. Though, I wasn't the biggest fan of the whole mind thing.
What, the thing where it was the Cyber Planner?
Yeah.
I quite like that. I mean, it was
It's an
different.
interesting idea, but I thought, like, the Cyberman methods are usually more brute force and...
Well, they kind of did force themselves inside its head. I'd say it was semi-brute force.
It's true. Well, actually, I thought the issue was more the episode that it wasn't more of like the game of chess. I don't.
That was
the Cybermen think logically. Why would they think a game of chess would be the best thing to do? And then,
Well, it was the Doctor who decided to do chess.
But why would the Cybermen agree?
Because it was a turn-based thing where they could learn all the moves and then win it. It's not like it was hopscotch or they had a 100% chance of winning, as we know. The Doctor only won by cheating.
Yeah, I still think it would have been a more effective thing if we just didn't really get a look into Doctor's head, but it was more him twitching back and forth.
Yeah, I don't think there should have been those conversations inside his head.
I think they should have been outward. I think the Doctor should have been continuing normally for a little bit, and then just switching between being...
Well, they did do that at some point.
They did. They had moments of it, but I think that should have been most of what it was, because I think that would have been more effective if he just slowly more and more and stayed in his cyber form longer and longer.
Yeah.
But...
oh well. Yeah.
Oh well.
But yeah, go back to basics, I think. Go back to their... The thing is, in Classic Who, they never really used brute force. They always did weird methods. Like poisoning the sugar, you know?
I guess that's true. But it wasn't really strategic. It's more of a way, because they knew they couldn't... It would be more difficult to kind of just brute force it in that situation. They think logically, but they wouldn't necessarily play chess. Kind of logic.
True.
They're more... ruthless. Like, their ambition when they poisoned the sugar was very much, we're going to kill people like this.
Well, no, they made them ill. They made them ill.
They made them infected, and then we're going to get them.
Yeah.
You know, that's how... it wasn't... Yeah.
I don't know. I just like those more kind of odd kind of plans. You know, the long convolute... The longer plans, you know, not just that we're invading or just trying to upgrade people. I want a strategic one, like what was it? The Revenge of the Cybermen, where they're just gonna destroy the gold planet because gold kills them. You know?
Yeah.
That was a strategic move. It wasn't because they were gonna, gain much from it. It was strategic.
Really strategic, yeah.
And that's what I liked about that one. It made sense.
And lots of each one kind of. Not all of them are just about inherently upgrading. Each one kind of brings its own flavour. So, 10th Planet is about desperation, about survival of their planet. Moonbase is about, like, again, kind of, well, that was an invasion of that, so they can control the weathers and all that. That was an invasion. And then Tomb was very much more of a, we're in a very desperate place, we need more Cybermen, we've only got us left.
Yeah.
And then Revenge, as you said, it's a gold planet. They keep building up, like, because each planet is kind of distinct from each other for the Cybermen.
Yeah, they were always to gain something else. There's always other strategic reasons.
Yeah, some of them were pure invasions, but some of them...
Like the invasion.
The invasion was yeah, that's true. That was a pure invasion, but, like, they also had other very much distinct stories. In the recent series, a lot of it has just been you will be upgraded.
And that's it.
Of course, with the exception of Army of the Ghosts, of course.
It semi-was, though. They just moved to another...
Well, it's true, they were upgrading people, but their focus was, well, a lot of that was not so... That was a distraction, that was part of it. But a lot of it was fighting the Daleks in Doomsday, I guess.
Yeah, from what we saw, I mean, their overall plan was to upgrade. But yeah, they just need to stop and decide what they're going to do with it. Because they talked about this entire cyber war in Nightmare in Silver, which we saw none of, so we don't see any consequences or anything, apart from, oh, look, that dark area over there was blown up.
Also, restoring some sort of continuity, I think, is an important thing.
Fix the continuity.
Even the old Cybermen stories, they had a form of continuity, a lot of them. Whether it be from the Doctor referencing parts in their continuity to... Like, just in, like, Tomb of the Cybermen, for example, it was very much this is basically a result of something. Yeah, this is a result of after... It all builds on the Cyberman's ultimate kind of lore, in a way.
Yeah,
This is where Cyberman close to the brink point. This is... And, I mean, from Earthshock onwards, they kind of had more of a continuity. I mean, they didn't as much begin with, like... Revenge is kind of a bit more disconnected from the others and stuff, for example. But I mean, very much from Earthshock onwards, it had kind of a continuity there. They did have kind of a flowing thing, and it was a new series which kind of brought that into the forefront. Each story up to the next Doctor was connected, and it was good. In fact, that was something that the Russell T Davies era excelled at. Continuity within its own time. Things which were happened before would either be referenced back to, at least in terms of, like, the mainstays, like the Daleks and the Cybermen, they would have a kind of flowing arc. It wouldn't just stop with that episode and they'd just return the next episode anew, necessarily. There is a way they got to that point. And they would explain that and how they got past, like, the last story or what have you, or how it connects.
On how it continued, and they need just continuity is probably the main thing that they need to fix.
But that's something that Moffat really doesn't believe in.
Yeah,
it's owned by
it's like when he said
things.
Like, oh, the Master used to escape all the time and just didn't expect. It's the way that Moffat, I think, speaks to the audience like we're idiots, and it's a bit insulting at times. The way.
And I also argue in the case of the Master, that's not really what happened. That only really happened, like, oh, it supposedly died but came back, was in Planet of the Fire, and nobody liked it there. Like, the Third Doctor era, he had a flowing arc, which eventually led to him getting arrested, him coming out in the Sea Devils. It was an arc. And, like, a lot of the things which they didn't tell you didn't need to be explained. Oh, how does he get away from the Sea Devils? Well, he got away.
Yeah.
There was an arc, and we had a pretty consistent Master arc. We knew what he was doing from one thing to another, right up until, I think, probably Planet of the Fire, which was...
To be honest, I want to say it's just more lazy writing, really.
Yeah.
I know it's a bad thing to say, but I think it's just generally just lazy writing, not explaining anything.
I don't have to, so I don't want to. Kind of thing. Yeah. I can agree.
Completely. Not more that I don't want to, I can't think of a good reason, so I'm just going to gloss over it. If you can't think of a good reason, then don't write the story, because, I mean, you can't just go, Oh no, they haven't even explained how Missy's back. Like, what happened after the time?
We've got the Gallifrey and everything, and we know that Rashalon regenerated after presumably the blast from the Master's hands.
But yeah, what?
But what happened there?
With
How
Missy?
did Missy escape?
And if they explain it in the upcoming story, I'm just going to be even more annoyed.
Why
Because
did it take them so long?
Why did it take you so long? Was it like he didn't? He wasn't even in his original body, you know. Like, really, his body was dying. Did he even have regeneration powers? How did he get regeneration powers? You know, so many questions, and I don't like having that. I don't like having to fill in the gaps myself all the time.
Yes,
it's okay now and then. Okay,
yeah,
every now and then.
Everything,
but important stuff like this is annoying. Okay,
and the same thing kind of happened with Davros. Like,
yeah.
How did he get out of a burning?
See, that one I'm okay with. You're like, fine,
somewhat.
Escape pod or teleports. You know, easy stuff like that. But there's massive stuff about easy regenerating. You know, where what. You know, completely, that needs to be filled in.
That's what happened in the Moffat era, because Moffat clearly doesn't really care about the continuity of certain things.
Well, he said it before, you know?
Yeah, and again, this very much applies to Cybermen, the fact that again, they got rid of the continuity, the Cyberman's continuity that Russell T Davies had been building up, which is frustrating because, you know, they'd taken it so far, and then, like, it was just dropped.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with everything, you know. It's just stopped the arcs, really.
And then they give arcs to really dumb things that we don't care about.
Exactly.
Like, oh my god. Yeah, so, I don't know, they need fixed continuity. Let's get a writer who understands them, you know? Or whoever's writing for them, watch, like, every single Cyberman story before even thinking of the story you even want to tell.
All the really relevant stories, like, if there's a few you can skip, but... Like, the most important Cybermen story. You gotta...
10th and Tomb.
10th and Tomb.
Invasion a bit.
Invasion, probably Earthshock.
Basically all the black and white ones in Earthshock.
And probably the new series. At least a few of them. Just to get a sense of how they've been updated.
Yeah, on where you need to add in your continuity.
Yeah, how to build. Because, like, you gotta...
look at what you've been given, okay? We've got a sandpit, and part of the castle's been built, okay? Or we're at the beach and there's a sandcastle. Part of it's been built, but you need to go back and see how it should be built, and then add to what you've already got. You know, we don't have time to knock it down. We're in a sandcastle building competition, okay? So I don't have time to knock down and start again, okay? Yes. We've got to look at what we've got. Look at the plans that we had from the past and go with that. That's what we've got to do.
It, yeah.
And just build with what we've got. Fix what we've got, you know. And that's probably the best advice that we could give to making the Cybermen great again. I mean, they just... In some ways, I like them... I mean, probably one of the best things about the Patrick Troughton era, for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Bloody love them. And 10th Planet, I mean, is a great one as well.
10th Planet, Patrick Troughton stories up. I think... Well, I don't know so much about Wheel in Space, because haven't watched it, but... All the stories that we have for the Patrick Troughton era are really good. Moonbase really good. Tomb, oh my god.
And then Invasion is really incredibly good. Yeah.
And like, you know, well, it makes it so sad to see the state which they're in now. Again, there's a reason they're Doctor Who's second most popular monster, and to see them kind of, I guess as of now, kind of in a weird limbo to where I think they get that Nightmare in Silver wasn't that well received, but they don't really know what to do with them. So every time they keep bringing the Cybermen back and not being well received, it's back to the drawing board again. They try something else, and it just...
Well, it's weird because then they go to like, oh, well, they didn't like it, so let's put them with another character.
Yeah.
You know, so they're not the... And it's like, no, they need their own story and just get a writer who understands it. Have a script editor or have a team work on it, you know? You need a room. That's something I hope Chibnall does. I hope he sits down with all his writers and all the writers give input on everybody's scripts, you know?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Then you'd have way better continuity between your episodes, you know? You get way better, probably, because, you know, some people you just can't come up with stuff, you know? it's hard to come up with a great story. You know, I'm not saying it's easy writing. I mean, it's probably bloody difficult. But you know, there's stuff you can do. It's stuff that I think needs to change. Have a script editor who knows Doctor Who off by heart. Work as a team on scripts always. Like, I don't just mean the head writer and whoever's writing the script. I mean everybody who's working on the season. Like, Mark Gatiss has got enough Doctor Who stuff behind him to be able to give his input and help people on scripts.
Yes.
You know, work more as a team, I think. Get an understanding of the Cybermen. 2-parter story. Finale, I think, would be fair enough.
Yes.
Build up to something to make it even bigger. Have, like, the Cybermen, you know, like, throughout the series, like, as I mentioned in Series 10, like, our Series 10 video, like, and beyond, drop hints about stuff like what I was saying with the Daleks. Drop hints about the Daleks here and there. You know, oh, the Daleks killed my home planet. Oh, the Daleks chased us into this corner of. You know, lots of just small like one-liners about it here and there, but you know that they're on the rise or something. You could do it with the Cybermen,
building up to a bigger Cyberman plot.
And then boom,
massive.
They hit in something, you know, like the Time Destructor or something. Maybe the Cybermen are tired of trying to convert other people. Just like, you know what?
Cybermen's master plan.
Yeah, but, you know, maybe they're fed up of trying to convert everybody, and maybe they realise that, hey, they don't want to be converted. What's the point? Let's just kill them all instead. Let's hold the universe at ransom. And then they're forcing people into conversion, or they die.
Or something like
work.
a way of making. Or if not that, then perhaps like they've invented a weapon which can mass convert people.
See, you know, they could like merge a Sleep No More thing. So you go into the pod to sleep, come out a Cyberman. Boom, trickery like that. You know, they could do something really sneaky. And nobody complains that they've gone missing, and then they could have an entire plot of people trying to find out what's happening. You know, that would be a great intro sequence. That'd be a great intro sequence. So before the title credits, there's an investigator looking about, trying to see, you know, what's been going on. They get in a sleeping pod, but they don't fall asleep. So then they're awake when they get converted.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be horrible.
That would.
And there you go. There you go. Boom. That would be an incredibly good setup.
Or perhaps
all over Earth, people are using these sleep pods.
Or perhaps another thing I thought of was perhaps they could play off the Nightmare in Silver insects. So if they have the insects go like
the Cybermites,
the Cybermites, and they drop like a bunch of them on Earth. Say you just drop them in the middle of London. They get into people. Say if the Cybermen build like a conversion part somewhere like in the middle of a field somewhere, and like all these people are being like possessed, like with the Cybermites, and just walk themselves to the conversion plant. Like there's this massive, great big, the population of London walking out and being converted into Cybermen. I mean, in a way, that's kind of actually that kind of sounds like Age of Steel in a way.
But... Well, you could do it like the London Eye.
Yeah.
And at the top, you get converted, and you come back down. Well, you know, they could do, you know...
There's so many possibilities with the Cybermen, which is why it's so sad that it's not being used.
Yeah, but you see, like, we're coming up with stuff here. You just got to understand the Cybermen, you know? They don't always just want to convert. They do other strategical things. You know? Come on, guys. Get your stuff together.
They sort of have the people element, but they're emotionless.
Yeah, you know? They still think like humans, they're just emotionless. So they still do the tactical stuff, not just, oh, you're not the same as us, we gotta upgrade you. Maybe they get tired of trying, you know? Though they never tire, you know, but maybe they just realise, they get an update and realise that, oh wait, why don't we just threaten the entire universe, and if they don't convert, they will die anyway. You know? That would be a big threat.
Perhaps the Cybermen have created a super weapon and are holding the universe
at ransom.
Yeah,
and they're converting planet at a time.
Yeah, to whoever surrenders.
Yeah.
Like,
if you don't surrender, like a Death Star, really.
Yeah,
I know it'd be a massive copy, but just change it a bit, make it like multiple ships which go around it, and then just laser
perhaps
through it.
The ultimate way to resolve it is a collaboration between many universes.
Yeah.
In order to fight the Cybermen force.
You know?
Including perhaps even past villains from Doctor Who. That could be the universe against the Cybermen. That would be so cool.
And they could do a massive thing of the Doctor not wanting to start another time war. You know, they could do a massive layered thing about the Doctor not wanting to march people into battle, and a massive conflict on do you risk other people's lives to save everyone, or do you stand by your morals of don't fight in a war, you know, don't use weapons. And they could do a really, really layered finale, and it could end badly. The companion could die, and then like the Doctor would be like, I was right all along, war is wrong, you know, but like he still saved the day. But you know, like what Stolen Earth did, but maybe a bit more controlled, not just trying to be this massive fangasm of companions.
Well, yeah, because that was a as you said, I was like a focus on companions, and like Earth.
Let's focus on the Cybermen and the Doctor's reluctancy.
And Doctor's reluctancy and other planets other than Earth, because all we saw was the Daleks invading Earth, despite the fact that it sucked in all these other planets.
I think they could probably do a 3-parter on that story. With that kind of thing.
That concept.
But anyway, we've probably ranted about Cybermen enough for today, so thank you very much for listening.
Have we ever truly ranted too much about Cybermen? So
thank you very much for listening this far for 46 minutes of us talking about Cybermen. Tell us below what you think about Cybermen. You know, do you think they're alright? Because we don't. And you know, tell us, how do you fix them? What do you think of our plot ideas? I think they're pretty decent. But yeah, let us know below. What do you hope that they do it? What do you think about the Cybermen being in the 13th Doctor's first story? What do you think about that? You know, do you think that would be a good idea, or do you think that'd be too early? Yeah, there we go. So thank you very much for listening. Subscribe.
Why not? Don't be a Cyberman. You know, don't be converted.
Don't be emotionless. Have your own emotions.
Probably the most obvious one I had to play.
But yeah. So subscribe. Click that bell so you actually get notifications, because you know, YouTube. Gosh. Yeah, and thank you very much, and see you next time for another Eyes of Harmony podcast
thing
majig, you know. So, boy.